Most people believe overthinking is simply thinking too much. They see it as a minor annoyance, something that happens when they have important decisions to make. They say things like, "I just care too much. I'm a deep thinker. It's better than being careless." But I see it differently. Overthinking is not deep thinking. It is thinking without direction. It is mental noise disguised as intelligence. Many people think through words, endless internal conversations that go in circles. They overthink without ever asking themselves why they are overthinking in the first place. They call it thinking, when in reality it is often a lack of real thinking. True thinking is clear, focused, and purposeful. What most people call thinking is actually anxiety, wearing the mask of intelligence. I know many people think through words, many of them think overthinking without thinking why. If I say so-called overthinking is thinking, and so-called thinking is a lack of thinking, remember that thinking more is better than thinking less. Here's what makes this video different from everything else you've watched on this topic. This is not another soft, feel-good, comfortable illusion type of video telling you to just stop overthinking or think positive. This is raw, this is honest, and this is different. You can already sense it now, can't you? The weight in your chest, the familiar tension in your mind. If you feel that, then stay with me, because what you're about to hear may finally break the cycle. Most people have extremely shallow opinions about overthinking. They tell you, just stop thinking about it. You're overreacting. Forget about it and move on. Don't overthink. These are not solutions. These are dismissals from people who have never truly experienced the depth of a racing mind. Here's what almost nobody says out loud. Many people think through words, endless, repeating, exhausting internal conversations. They talk to themselves constantly, but rarely actually think. They overthink without ever questioning why it's even called overthinking. Let me say something that might confuse many, but will feel deeply true to real overthinkers. Now, imagine what if I say so-called overthinking is possible for the thinking, and so-called thinking would be a lack of thinking. Now you can see that these are all identity statements, not descriptions of fixed reality, because these can bend when someone questions those, because real thinking has direction, clarity, and purpose. What most people call thinking is simply mental noise, empty words they've become comfortable with. We've been trained by society to accept certain words and explanations without ever examining the emptiness behind them. If you follow what society says, you're considered normal. If you question it too deeply, they call you an overthinker, weird, paranoid, and tell you it's your fault. But here's the raw truth. Our brain doesn't hide what is irrelevant. It hides what is too heavy to hold. That is why so-called overthinkers can handle what I'm saying right now with ease, while many others feel confused or defensive because deep down, they feel the weight. They just don't want to look at it. But here's what society never tells you. While the world mocks overthinkers, there are real, powerful advantages that only they possess. First, overthinkers see where others don't see. They notice hidden dangers, opportunities, and patterns that normal thinkers completely miss. Example 1. In a business meeting, while others are focused on surface-level conversation, the overthinker has already predicted the hidden motives, potential betrayal, and long-term consequences. Example 2. In relationships, they sense small changes in tone, energy, and behavior long before problems explode, giving them the ability to understand people on a much deeper level. Example 3. While working on a project, they can foresee problems and obstacles weeks in advance that average thinkers only discover after failure. Most people learn through painful trial and error. They try, fail, suffer, and then slowly figure things out. But the so-called overthinker has a different gift. They can understand before doing. Their mind runs thousands of simulations in silence, seeing outcomes before they ever take action. This saves them from many unnecessary failures. This ability exists because their brain has formed far more complex neural connections than the average person. Their mind doesn't think in straight lines. It thinks in webs. This is why overthinkers are naturally superior at multitasking. While others struggle to focus on two things at once, the overthinker's brain can hold multiple complex threads simultaneously without losing control. It is not a weakness. It is a different, more powerful operating system. The tragedy is that society calls this gift a disorder and forces these powerful minds to feel broken for having them. Before dismantling the so-called overthinking, I want to introduce some words. I know not many, just two. One is backward thinking, and two is context. One 1. Thinking from the end. This is a powerful mental technique for redirecting so-called overthinking. Simple definition. Instead of thinking forward from today to the future, you think backward, starting from the desired future outcome and working your way back to the present moment. Why it works, especially for overthinkers. Normal forward thinking creates anxiety because the future feels uncertain and overwhelming. What if this goes wrong? Then what? Backward thinking gives your mind clarity and structure. It reduces the heavy sense of partial future you mentioned. Overthinkers are naturally good at simulating futures. This method uses that ability productively instead of letting it run wild. Practical example. Exam. Normal way forward. Today I should study, but what if I can't focus? What if I fail? Your way backward exam day. I need to be fully ready. Day 6, full revision. Day 5, complete difficult topics. Day 4, complete difficult topics. Day 3, complete difficult topics. Day 2, complete difficult topics. Today, what is the single most important task right now? This creates a clear path instead of mental chaos. Key benefit, it turns your overthinking superpower from a source of anxiety into a precision planning tool. 2. Context, your context versus their context. This is one of your deeper and more interesting ideas. Simple definition. Every person lives inside their own context, their own priorities, emotions, pressures, goals, and worldview. Their context equals what they want, feel, and expect. Your context equals what you want, feel, and need. The problem, most people consciously or unconsciously try to pull you into their context while completely ignoring yours. Example, your mother. Your mother wants you to come to the aunt's house, her context, family, emotions, social expectations. She gets upset when you say no, without considering your workload, mental state, or goals, your context. She is trying to make her context more important than yours, the raw truth you pointed out. If someone doesn't respect or even consider your context, why should you carry their context so heavily? Powerful insight. Overthinkers often get trapped because they are highly empathetic and can deeply understand other people's contexts, but they forget to protect their own. Summary. Thinking from the end equals a practical technique to control anxiety and plan better. Context is a psychological awareness about boundaries, realizing when others are forcing their frame onto you and choosing not to carry it. Now let me share with you what actually worked in my life. This method might sound strange, weird, or even stupid to people who don't experience heavy overthinking, but for those who do, it can be life-changing. The core shift is this. Stop thinking from the beginning to the end. Start thinking from the end to the beginning. Most people think forward. What if this happens, then that happens? And they drown in uncertainty. Overthinkers have the rare ability to sense partial futures. Use that power by reversing the direction of your thinking. Practical example 1, the exam. Imagine you have an important exam in 7 days. Instead of starting from today and feeling overwhelmed, begin from the end. On the day of the exam, I must be fully prepared and calm. On the 6th day, I need to revise everything thoroughly. On the 5th day, I must finish the hardest and most important topics. On the 4th day, I need to cover the remaining syllabus. On the 3rd day, light revision and practice tests. On the 2nd day, final review and rest. Today, what is the most important thing I must do right now? This backward thinking reduces the heavy pressure of the uncertain future. If reversing feels difficult at first, then start normally. But once your mind is calmer, switch to backward planning. After mastering this for big goals, apply the same method to your daily schedule. Break down your day from the desired end result back to the present moment. And here's a powerful detail. If you plan to study for 5 hours, commit to studying 5 hours and 10 to 15 minutes more. That small extra effort sends a strong signal to your brain and slowly dissolves the constant burden of the partial future you keep carrying. Practical example 2, daily work project. You have an important project or assignment due in 5 days. Start from the due date and move backwards. On the due date, everything must be polished and submitted. 1 day before, final editing and checking. 2 days before, complete the main body. 3 days before, research and structure. Today start with the most important single task. This method turns your overthinking from a curse into a precise planning tool. The most important rule. Stop wasting your powerful mind on things you cannot control. You cannot control how other people think, feel, or react. The moment you try, you lose the mental strength you already have. They all have minds. They all have egos built around. Let me give you a real example from life. Imagine that you and your mother or your friends are talking. It doesn't matter who matters, you and the other person. Your mother calls and says, "Your father and I are going to your aunt's house today. Come with us." You respectfully reply, "I'm sorry, I'm busy with work today." But she gets upset and starts scolding you. In that moment, your mind begins to overthink. Am I a bad son? Should I cancel my work? Did I speak rudely? Here's the raw truth. She was trying to pull you into her context. She wasn't considering your time, your goals, your mental energy, or your responsibilities. She concerned how she feels from you. If she truly cared about your situation, she wouldn't scold you for being honest. This is what happens in many relationships. People try to force you into their context while completely ignoring yours. So remember this. If someone doesn't care about what you think and feel, why should you care so deeply about what they think? Do you think others will ever be sorry putting you in their context? Or that others will apologize to you someday because I did it to my own advantage, and I didn't care about what you think? The moment you stop carrying other people's context, your mind becomes significantly lighter and sharper. Now, we've reached the end of this video. If you've made it this far, I want you to understand something important. Most videos about overthinking are shallow. They give you cute little tips like take deep breaths, write in a journal, or just stop thinking so much. Surface-level advice, comfortable content, easily forgettable. This video is not like that. This one is heavier, harder to digest, uncomfortable, wired. The fact that you're still here, listening till the end, proves you're not looking for easy comfort. You're looking for real understanding. That curiosity, that refusal to settle for shallow answers, that itself is proof that you have the capacity to change. Here's the final raw truth. Overthinking is not the enemy. It is a misunderstood superpower that society has taught you to fear and suppress. The real problem is not that you think too much. The real problem is that you've been pointing that incredible mental power in the wrong direction, toward things you cannot control, toward imaginary futures, and toward other people's expectations. When you learn to redirect it by thinking backward, by protecting your context, and by refusing to carry what isn't yours, that same overthinking transforms into clarity, foresight, and deep intelligence. You don't need to kill your mind, you need to master its direction. If this video felt heavy, that's because real change always does. Most people will watch this, feel something for a few minutes, and return to their old patterns tomorrow. But you, if you're still here, maybe you're different. The question is no longer, why do I overthink? The question now is, will I continue wasting this powerful mind, or will I finally take control of it? Thank you for staying until the end. If this video awakened something in you, comment below. I'm ready to redirect my mind. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you want more content like this every month. Now close this video, begin directing your mind where it actually matters. You already have everything you need. The only question left is whether you'll use it.